Put me in, coach. Today we're talking about the 5 most dangerous point guards in the NBA today. But before we get into that, like this video. Also, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop the next video. Also, share this video because it's educational, informational, and entertaining. I mean, we are talking basketball here. With that being said, let's dive straight into this video. Coming in at number 5, and maybe I should say 5 and 6 because these two guys actually are a tie in my eyes. That's Dame Lillard and that's Steph Curry. These guys have changed the game, okay? From where they can shoot from, which is half court, you as a coach, as a defender, right? You must know where they are at all times, because when they have the opportunity to pass the ball, you usually have a lot of space to operate, right? What do I mean by that? Both of them only average about 7 assists, right? And at first listen, that sounds like a pretty high number. But when you consider they're the point guard and they have the ball in their hands a lot, that's really not a lot of assists. But the reason why I have them on this list is because they're dangerous, right? Once they cross half court, you must know where they are. Because they can shoot the ball from so far away, that means guys can literally catch the ball and lay it up. Catch the ball and shoot the ball because there's so much space to operate. So when you hear guys say, oh, he makes his teammates better, what they mean by that is just he has an easier life. Meaning if his guy has to help on Steph Curry or Dame Lillard, guess what? He's wide open for a layup or a jump shot or, you know, something else to make a play for somebody else. All right. Now, moving right along. Number 4, Russell Westbrook. I love Russell Westbrook. He's one of my favorite players. But the reason I have him at number 4 on this list is mainly because of his turnovers. Offensively, outside of him out shooting everybody on his team, which is 2 cons, the pros are, you know what kind of energy and effort he is bringing to the game. He is going to come at you just like the intensity that's in my face. That's how Russell Westbrook is coming at you, right? And the fact that he averages 10 assists, it means he's also on the hook for at least 20 more points, including his point average. So when we're looking at points in a game, if a guy can average 10 assists, that means he's responsible for an additional 20 points. So if a team scores 100 points and he scores 20 points, but he has 10 assists, that means he's responsible for 40 points, which is almost half of your team's total points. Now, if your team doesn't score 100 points, then that means he's actually doing a lot more for your team. Okay? Now, again, I love Russell Westbrook. He gives you great defense. He brings the energy every single night. He's behind his guys. He's going to make sure that his guys know that he's on their side. And you better be on his side, which is great. I would love to have that, but his decision making, the energy that he comes with, that intensity, sometimes he takes that a little bit too far. Thus, he's leading the league in turnovers, right? If he ever cleans that up, and if he ever decides that he's going to work on his 3-point shot, he has the potential to be the most dangerous point guard in the league. Because here's the thing. It's very hard to guard him already because he's so fast. He's strong. But it's his decision making. So I have him at number 4. Number 3, right? Number 3, I have Trey Young. Why do I have Trey Young? Because since I've known about Trey Young, he has averaged 10 assists per game. Going all the way back to college. Now, they compared him to Steph Curry. I say he's more like Steve Nash because he has the flair, he has the ball handle, and he actually averages 10 assists per game since college. And he came in as the day one starter for the Atlanta Hawks, who traded to get him. Now, look at the Hawks. They are in playoff position. Granted, it is the East, but who's the leader of their team? Trey Young. Okay? So, he's going to hit threes from half court. Sometimes he shouldn't take those threes, but the fact that he can make them and the fact that he has made them, it ain't going to be too many coaches telling him not to shoot that, especially because at his size, when he shoots those shots back there, now he has a lot more room to operate if he decides to penetrate, which makes the game easier. So I'm looking at guys like Cam Reddish, Herder, I forget his name. There's another guy on the team who is known as a shooter. He came from Sacramento, was supposed to go to Milwaukee. Can't think of his name right now. But the point that I'm making is Trey Young gets guys set up. He's a floor general. He's a dimer, right? For you NBA 2K fans out there. He's a guy that once you pass the ball, you pretty much know go ahead and shoot it or get to the basket or lay the ball up at the rim because all the attention is focused on your point guard. So you should be wide open. Now, moving right along. Coming in at number 2 is James freaking Harden. Put some respect on his name, okay? And even me, right? James Harden and Russell Westbrook, they both are up there as far as leading the league in assists, but they're also up there when it comes to turning the ball over, meaning giving the ball back to the other team. What I love about James Harden is he makes the game so simple that it looks extremely easy. But that's because he's mastered what he can do. His dribbling, he doesn't have the best handle in the world, but he has enough strength to where when he's doing his move, you know, you're going to have to figure out where you want to be when he makes a move, and then you hope that it's not the step back three that he's knocking down. You hope that he's missing that shot. But if he's not missing that shot, that's dangerous because now he can hit you with a hesitation and then he can lob it up over the top or he could kick it out to a shooter. He's averaged 10 assists plus he's been the MVP. And he gives you 30 points, at least 30 points per game. His average when it comes to assists is usually over 10, right? So now you have 30 plus the 10 assists, which equate to at least 20 points. But playing with James Harden, you know some of those are going to be threes. You're not going to have to question what type of shots the team is going to get. Some of those will be 3-pointers. But if we're averaging that down, that's an accumulation of 50 points. And check this out. James Harden is very efficient. So he might score 50 and then get another 10, 11 assists to go with that, which means he's responsible for a lot of points that are being scored. Now, we could talk about some of the cons, which is basically his defense, or when he doesn't have the ball, he's not really moving or doing much. But the fact that he affects the game as strongly as he does and as simple as his game is, it's very hard to guard because he has mastered that. With that being said, his teammates get behind him because they know he's going to pass me the ball. It is a matter of when, because he will dribble the ball, but he has kind of changed that going to Brooklyn. His game looks a little bit different, but to me it still kind of looks the same, meaning he does dribble, but he does get the ball up sooner. Now, number one dangerous point guard in the league. Take notice, young fellas out there. Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the #1 dangerous point guard in the league. He's the best all-around point guard that you can get. Why? His turnovers are very low. His assists are very high. He can score. Now, his average is about 18 points and 8 or 9 assists per game. At one time, it was actually 10 assists, and it was 20 points, right? So we can kind of round those numbers up and say he's a 20 and 10 guy at the point guard position. Now, why is this so important? Because Chris Paul, if he wanted to, he can score 30 points a game. He can do it. He can shoot. His handle is very underrated, and he actually goes after the mismatches that he wants. But even if he doesn't get the mismatch that he wants, which is a center guarding him, he can score on the guard. But what I love about Chris Paul is he gets the floor spread, right? He gets the ball to guys who hadn't touched it in a while. He gets the ball to guys in the exact position that they need the ball in to be the most effective, the most efficient. And as I stated before, the major difference with him and James Harden and Russell Westbrook is his assist, his turnover ratio, which is about 2 to 3 turnovers a game, is a lot lower than 4 to 5 turnovers, which is Russell Westbrook and James Harden. And like I said before, his defense, he will pick up the other team's best player if it's not a post guy. But guess what? I've seen him guard James Harden. I've seen him guard LeBron James. I've seen him guard, was it Kawhi Leonard? Anyway, the point that I'm making is, and it's hard to stop any of those top guys, but the fact that he will do it and he will do it effectively, meaning he's going to make it tough on them, meaning when they have the ball, they will possibly turn it over. Chris Paul is the guy that you want. Now, let me throw out a few names so you can kind of see how important Chris Paul is to a team. DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, David West, Tyson Chandler. All of those guys got huge contracts. Now, Blake Griffin, he was going to get it. He was going to get a huge contract based on where he was drafted and how many people he put on posters, okay? But when Chris Paul got there, he turned it into Lob City. Meaning now it's open season for dunks. DeAndre Jordan, he wasn't highly drafted, but he made his money. And he made his money playing with Chris Paul, because everywhere else that he's been, including now with the Brooklyn Nets, he's been kind of pushed to the side. He's been kind of pushed to the back burner, right? That same thing kind of happened with Tyson Chandler, right? David West. Most people don't even know who those two guys are. But what I'm telling you is he has helped to elevate guys' careers. That being said, that's my top 5, well, let's call it 6 most dangerous point guards in the NBA. Thank you for watching this entire video. I know it was long, but once again, thank you. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, more videos to come. Peace.